everyone, this is Steve with Collider, and we're back at the South by Southwest studio, and I am amped to see your guys' movie tonight, The Fall Guy. Tonight is the world premiere.
It is.
I have a lot of things to talk to you about, but let's just do the most important question up front.
Okay.
What was it like, because I saw you guys attended the Oscars.
Yes.
What was it like watching I'm Just Ken performed live?
It was like a dream come true meets like an absolute like acid trip. I think I've never done it. I've never dropped the A, but like it was really, really amazing. And, you know, just like Slash, by the way.
Yeah, rocking out against a wind machine with Slash is pretty awesome.
And then, you know, the Barbie faces like became like this psychedelic sort of like swirl above him while he was like being spun. And then what was kind of fun in the audience is you sort of saw him tuck in and slide out and like waiting for him to pop back up. That was kind of fun for me. But I mean, he stole the show. And I think he maybe changed the Oscars forever. Like, I think people can do bolder things now for the rest of time. That's what I'm hoping for. I
loved it.
I agree.
What was it like? What is it actually like to attend the Oscars? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I've never been. I don't know if I'll ever go. But what is it actually like? Like, are you getting there super early? Are you like timing it in terms of like when do we want to arrive? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how much thought are you thinking about getting to go to something like that?
Well, there's a ton of logistics involved. I mean, obviously just getting through the security blockades and all of that. But we, because we were not nominees, we were sort of like presenter. We were, you know, invited by the Academy. We came early and we did some press early because there's a whole sort of like legion of actors coming in. So we were there, you know, I don't know, like 1:30.
Yeah,
we were there, pretty early.
And it's a little bit of a pinch me moment. I mean, because, you know, we make the films that they don't always recognize to the, you know, all the way to the Academy Awards. And so it felt like we were a little bit interloping. But it was really, really special and such an honor. And, you know, we've been talking to the Academy a lot, and we have received very warm response to our mission, and really, really enjoyed our experience in them and working on the little sort of segments as well as like being there. It was a real honor.
Yeah, it was really great that they had really embraced the idea that we could do a segment honoring stunts, because they know inside there is the group of us working through the system to get an award for stunts. And obviously they've been doing that for years, you know, the Greg Smurs, the Jack Gills, they've been working inside, but now there's a real clear path, the way casting has found their way to an award. You know, I hope, fingers crossed, we're doing all the right steps that stunts can be next. And this was just a great sign of faith that they want to shed light on it too, and that they want it for the future. It's really just getting through, you know, the proper stages inside of the Academy.
I couldn't agree more that the stunts needs to be an Oscar, and I'm very happy that you guys are championing it and trying to make it happen. How happy are you that after Barbie and everything that is going on with Ryan Gosling and literally how he has taken over the zeitgeist, that you are his next movie?
I mean, we're ecstatic. It's kind of, again, like surreal that, you know, we've seen them, you know, both Emily and Ryan having these real moments during the award season, and like, you know, sort of coming really into the forefront of in all pop culture in all these ways. And
right at this moment,
right
before our movie, it's
very serendipitous for us.
Yeah, I can't. I'm sure everyone at Universal is overjoyed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one of those perfect storms.
Yeah.
So you got...
It makes the move to May 3rd seem really smart too.
Totally. And the movie, you know, deserves that. You know, and again, their performances in the movie you're going to see tonight, like they're so charismatic together, and it's really, like
it's a summer blockbuster.
It's a summer pop movie. It's fun.
And you know, we got to be fueled by their amazing work right before us. It's so funny because I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, so you'll love this one. But we had to wait. we had to wait for Barbie, and it was very frustrating for the studio to have to wait for Barbie because we had to wait for Ryan to finish Barbie. And originally, I think his part was smaller. and he was on longer, and they were on longer, like a lot of movies. And so and now it's like, thank God we waited for Barbie.
Listen, I was going to also say that, like, originally you were coming out in March, and I agree with the move to the summer, just because anyway, I think it's a beneficial thing. And also you get to premiere here. You're showing all the theater owners at CinemaCon, like you get to have, and also people don't realize usually movies are finished at the last possible second and everyone's rushing and stressed out. And instead you guys can just like sort of take a victory lap, you're not worried about finishing the movie or adjusting a shot.
Yeah, we were really fortunate because, obviously the strike, which is a real traumatic time for all of us in the industry again, we had already we were already in post. And so we were able to work, through the strike and edit the movie and finish the visual effects.
And strangely had no additional photography, which is what sort of held up a lot of titles, I think, for this year. Yeah. And so we did test with a lot of sound-alikes that sound nothing like the actors. But, so that was a little challenging, but otherwise we were really, really lucky.
Yeah, coming on the other side of the strike, we got all that ADR in the movie, but you're right. We had a lot of sound-alikes at moments because, we couldn't record the ADR with the actors. Yeah.
So I know that your movie has tested very well. I know that Universal is very enthusiastic about this film. And I would imagine the premiere tonight is going to play.
So is Steven Spielberg.
Exactly. By the way, okay, actually, what exactly is that like when something like that happens and you're like, wait, what? And also, how did he see it? Did you show it to him?
We didn't personally show it to him. I think the studio showed it to him, and it was upon his request, or I think it was upon his request. And
very funny story. We found out after the Golden Globes because he had seen it that day or the day before, and he walked over to Ryan Gosling. You should have Ryan tell you the story. And Ryan was like, "Who, me?" And he beelined over to him to tell him how much he loves the film. And so we heard at 10 p.m. on a phone call that was like, "You won't believe it! The most amazing thing happened. It's better than winning the Golden Globe." Steven Spielberg came over and said how much he loved The Fall Guy. And that's the first we heard of it. And then we heard subsequently from Steven. So
we got to meet with him, and
awesome.
He had nothing but really positive things to say about it, and asked a lot of questions, and we got to talk filmmaker to filmmaker about the process of making the movie, which is again, completely surreal, pinch me moment. There was one moment in that conversation where I'm like, can we just stop right now? And it's like, is this really happening? It was just not a true pinch.
I think we just arrived.
We just arrived.
Of all the things we've accomplished, we've finally arrived into the film business right now.
But he's obviously an incredibly gracious man, and it was really great to hear those compliments from him.
I am curious. We spoke about this, I think, a while ago when we were talking for Bullet Train. I might have asked something similar, but now the film, everyone is very enthusiastic. So how much is it behind the scenes? The studio saying, can we do another? Is this one of these things where you guys working on it, like a potential script? Do you know what I mean? And how much is it sort of like, we don't want to talk about anything till May 3rd and we see the numbers?
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to jinx it, first of all. And there are a lot of ideas rolling around for sure. I think that's a safe way of saying it.
I think you just,
definitely everybody inspired to do another one.
Sure, everyone's on board. Everyone's excited about it because it was such a great experience. But again, you don't want to jinx it, and you're waiting, to see if it touches the world, and if it does, and people respond and they want something more, then I think the group of artists that are on it are ready to come back, because it was a really once in a lifetime experience. We'd like to duplicate, make it a twice in a lifetime, maybe 4 times in a lifetime experience.
Emily has said she wants to do it until she's rolling out onto the set. Weekends at Bernie style.
I have
a lot of fun.
I have a funny feeling this one's going to do well. Also because I have family members who go to the movies once in a while, and they've asked me, when does this Fall Guy movie come out? Wow. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's going to be one of those movies.
That's great.
You know what I mean?
That's always a touchstone.
But it also, all kidding aside, it really does matter when you have Ryan and Emily are movie stars.
Yes.
And they're chemistry in just the footage I've seen is fantastic. And that's the kind of thing that people want to go, they want to escape reality and they want to have fun. And that's what I think your movie is going to probably deliver.
Well, that was the hope when we made it. We really wanted to make a movie that people that go to the theater love to go to, and can be escapist and dive into a world and really have fun. And it doesn't mean there's not, drama and stakes and emotion. There's a love story in the middle of this that's really, really compelling and sweet and earnest, because we have the best actors on the planet performing it. But you can really dive in and have fun and go on the roller coaster ride like the movies we make.
Yeah, I feel like it's if Leitch was ever to make a classic film, this is the Leitchian classic, if that makes sense for the history books. It's kind of still wild, and you never know what to expect, and a bunch of movies all in one, and more. He's a maximalist, but at the same time, there's a core to it that feels old school and really is a love letter to cinema.
One of the things I know you've said to me in the past that this movie has 3 crazy stunts that don't normally happen, I believe, or am I misquoting you? So what can you tease about those? For people that didn't see our previous conversations, what can you tease about some of the stunts in the movie?
They are practical, and they're some of the biggest things that you can do, you can do, and we did them practically, and oftentimes they're replaced by CG these days, which is a testament to Universal buying into the sort of story behind the story, that this is a stunt man's and woman's and stunt person's film, and thus let's go for these giant stunts that you have to make sure everything is super safe before you do them, and take the risk and take the role. And I think you can feel that in the experience. I also think one of the cool things that's happening in the movie is there's an arc of sort of action trajectory as you watch sort of Colt's character roll into his old life, and have nerves and, have sort of a really messy crash and then turn into being slammed into a rock and having these epic fire burns that he's just being just beat up, to all the way to him having this super victorious leap over a canyon in a car at the end of it, which is a pretty epic way to kind of show that he's back in action, as it were, which is a really cool thing that sort of came together in the film.
Yeah, you're right. It's not just action for action's sake, but again, we always do, the action is servicing the arc of the character. But in this time, we got to do these really old school stunts practically to service that. But it's still the same, how we do it, using the action to build character.
Was there a stunt, or is there a stunt that you guys have thought about doing that you really want to do but still haven't found the project or the budget to be able to pull it off?
I think there's a few. I don't want to give them away because I'm afraid of people stealing steps. No, not really. But because once it's out there, then
you don't have
there
to
are people
say
do it. But yeah, there's a lot of it's not unlike, you have choreography ideas, you have stunt ideas that that didn't work in this film, but you want to do them, or again, budgetarily they didn't work. Yes, we haven't maxed out that creative through line yet. There's
many more.
Fall Guy 2. There's a lot of great stunts that we want to achieve.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And Fall Guy 2, yep.
So obviously, as you know, I'm aware that you guys work on other projects. You might even produce things, so I am curious what's bubbling up for you guys that you can tease.
We're 3 weeks out on a movie with Ki Kwan called With Love that we're really, really excited about. The cast is coming together super well, and it'll be a nobody-sized film that really sort of champions him as an action lead, which is going to be super exciting.
And Jonathan Eusebio, who has directed a lot of second unit for me in the past and has come up as a choreographer and a stuntman. It's his first time directing gigs, so we're there to support him, and he's, prep is going really well, and Key is really fired up and going to deliver some really fun action.
I saw him at a Universal party, and he was telling me about how he's been training, and I I'm such a fan of his, and I'm so happy with what's going on with him right now and his, resurgence. So what is it like working with him? Because he's so enthusiastic and so nice that, like, you know what I mean? What is it like? And
I'm obsessed. I think he's so cool. He's so classy. He's so fun and sweet and like wide-eyed in this way that's like sort of like, bring me anything and let's just go for it. And what do you think? And like as long as he's been in the business and as much as he's achieved, he still has like a real joie de vivre for it, like a real openness and like enthusiasm that's just still discovering. And that is just really, really fun every day.
It's infectious. It's infectious when you have, a lead actor that's that way with the crew and with, his director and all his other creatives. Like it all sort of trickles down. And so everyone's excited because the joy that he has, like he's ready to go. It's going to be awesome.
He has been training for a while for this. So what has he done in the training that has made you like, oh, wait, we can do this?
What was a lot of discovery for us, he has some action chops because he'd worked with Corey Yuen's team for a while in the past, and he's done quite a bit of fight action, obviously even before Everything Everywhere All at Once. And so it was really about like there was an assessment phase with the guys, and they were all just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like the aptitude's already here, so let's take it to the next level. And I think it was just sort of like tweaking him to the next level and like really finding the character in the action. And that's what they were unpacking. Like, I think this will...
He also has a really amazing like glasses move that I can't really tell you about, but look for it. Like where there's his spectacles like fly and then land. And it's just, and he like does it naturally in like IRL. And we're going to take advantage of that superpower. It's pretty cool.
I don't know. I forget. Have you announced the title of the film?
It's called With Love.
With Love.
And the plan, how long do you shoot for, if I can ask?
I think it's like a 37-day schedule.
Oh, so yeah, it's
like Nobody.
I was going to say I'm very. It's the model that you have shown works.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The Violent Night, the Nobody, and now With Love. Yeah.
Is the plan? Do you already? And maybe you do or don't. But do you already have like a release plan? Is it like, or have you not said anything as we look to?
No.
Yeah,
it's coming soon.
You're not allowed to talk about it. I'm like looking soon. Over there.
No, I think they're eyeing a release date. And that information's coming very soon.
Yes.
I would imagine it's a next year situation.
Yeah. It's a next year situation.
It's a year.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. I know the way it works. This isn't like going to be a heavy VFX thing.
No.
It's just it's like, about a year away.
Yeah.
I'll use common sense.
Yeah.
So speaking of the other two films you mentioned with Nobody and Violent Night, what can you tease about any possible returns to those universes?
We are planning on returns to those universes. Hopefully, honestly, even potentially end of this year for Nobody 2, and honestly, beginning of next year for Violent Night 2, if we can find time in everybody's busy schedules. But the development's going super well, and everybody's really, really excited about moving those worlds forward.
Yeah. Universal included. I mean, they're really invested in those as franchises, and they really want us to take them out and do sequels. Also,
I know that both Bob and David Harbour are both interested in doing it.
Yes.
That's half the thing right there.
Yes, they're fired up.
Yeah,
they are fired up.
Yeah.
Do you have scripts for those two projects, or are they being written now?
They're being written. We're well into a couple of drafts and things are going super well, but there's still a little work to do.
What is it like? Because there's only two of you, and I'm just curious, like, how do you figure out, what you want to spend your time on? Because obviously, like we just mentioned, these sequels, and you have your directing career, and like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you figure out what you ultimately want to spend your time on?
We have a great staff too, to be honest, who work hard and well, and like we feel really lucky to have. So that's really handy, in the process of trying to sort of like mature things to a certain point, and then we do jump in and sort of like kick the table over and make them change a bunch of stuff.
Drop a grenade in the script. Nice try. No, just kidding.
And we have a tendency to like they get it to a place and develop it to a place, and then we really like put our special sauce on it, so to speak. And then we, really lean into casting, we lean into our heads of departments and, who will really champion all of the artistic kind of components to the film, and are looking at the stunt viz all the way through and really, putting our spin on that too. So it's, we are quite involved, but it does take kind of a village under us to get it to a place, for sure.
Yeah, and there's a priority. You really have to prioritize things, and I think it's like you look at the year, at the beginning of the year, or you're sort of pacing out like, what are the things that could go this year? That's where we have to really start to dial in our producerial attention on. And then there's the development of our smaller films that are happening in the background with our team. And then there's our big movie slate, that Kelly produces and I direct, and then so we have to look at like what potential titles could go and like how are we fostering those. And so you distill it down to like 5 or 6 titles, which then becomes manageable in your brain, as opposed to like the fact that we have, all these titles at Universal in development that, you need to you prioritize, and you think that's really going to happen.
But and I definitely have to touch on this. Like in the last few years, your projects have gotten bigger and bigger, and you are now at the point where people want to work with you to make a David Leitch movie. What is it like to enter that chapter of your life where you are like, making these big fucking movies and you're being offered, like, you didn't do Jurassic, but you were offered Jurassic. You almost did it. Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be something else at Universal. They're going to be like, we'd love you to do insert name that costs tons of money movie. So what is it like as a filmmaker to reach that, to graduate to that level? And then also figuring out, well, what the hell do I want to do? Like, because they're being offered these crazy things.
I mean, you feel grateful, and it feels like amazing to be in that spot. I mean, there are very few filmmakers that can be in that spot, and that the studios would necessarily trust, I guess, and that they're willing to give these big IPs to. So that's really an amazing feeling. I think it takes, you really ultimately have to, search your heart and like find what you want to spend 2 years of your life on, because those movies obviously take more time than, not. And like, I don't know. It's just really, it's amazing to be in this position. And quite frankly, I can find my way into a lot of different things. Like, I think when I grab a script and I read it, I definitely have my own interpretation on it. I think a lot of people are surprised when they see, if they would have looked at what the draft they sent me and then the movie that came out the other end would be. So I find my ways into a lot of things, and it just needs to have that something that I connect with, that I can make it my own. So I'm lucky, but I'm very lucky to be in that position and very fortunate. I think it's really fun.
I don't think that it has been announced what you're going to do next. So what are you circling? Have you figured out?
I don't necessarily want to jinx it. I think, there are a few titles that we're circling and some that we're developing, and there's things that could go this year. There's things that could go early next year. I don't know. You want to comment on it? There isn't. Yeah, there's a lot. There are a few things that I'm really excited about, and if they materialized and the schedules lined up, and the development landed, I would be stoked. But like, no, I don't have something that like we're going.
Yeah, to your point, the choices are harder now. Because there's greater responsibility, and weirdly, there's more opportunity, and you have to really try to find, how you can continue to grow as a filmmaker, not just sort of service a project, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And
100%.
And that is hard. Actually, it's harder than when you're sort of like coming up and like, give me anything, I'll take it.
Like, that's my own. It's an opportunity. Now it's like, there's a lot of things. You're right.
So we have really a lot more to put into sort of like the evaluation of any given project.
But there's also, what people don't realize is, if you commit to something and it ends up going, that's 18 months to 24 months of your life.
Yeah.
Bang, that project.
You better be passionate about it.
Yeah, and so speaking of passion, and I know I got to go, but what's the story with Kung Fu and Donnie Yen?
Well, I'm obviously really passionate about both those things. And Kung Fu, martial arts, is a huge part of my life, has been since I was a kid. I'm a huge fan of Donnie and his work and his films. And so the potential of that is really, really interesting. And, we're in the development phase with Donnie, and it's really exciting. And it just feels like a big international franchise potential with Donnie as Kane. So I'm really excited about it. But again, it's in development, and we're making it happen.
What's funny is I'm friendly with Guillermo del Toro, and he's talked to me about how he'll have 8 projects in development because he really doesn't know what's going to be the thing that goes.
You don't.
And that's why you have to keep on developing, because one of them might bubble up, or you have this great script, everyone's excited, but the other person's schedule doesn't align.
Right.
And then you can't make it unless you want to wait 6 months.
Right.
Yes.
And it's like all of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
No one really understands that part. You know?
You know, it's hard. All of that is absolutely true. And that's why you just have to have a lot of things percolating and that you believe in and that you're ready to go to commit 2 years of your life to.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, it needs to be right too. Like, rushing to, as many times as we've started a movie without really knowing exactly the third act, you still have to kind of know it in your heart, or else you really shouldn't be starting the movie. So the script needs to be like really sound, and, we need to know the movie that we're making. And that is an unidentifiable point too.
It can be.
It can be, you never know when you're going to kind of quite get all of the notes together and the script together in a way that is really ready for shooting.
I have 2 last things, and then because I have to wrap with you. So we're doing a supercut of everyone who's coming in, and the question we're asking everyone, and here's the curveball, is if you could only watch one TV show for the rest of your life, what TV show would it be and why?
Peaky Blinders.
Wow.
Very fast.
Oh my God. Last time I said...
I had to go fast because he was going to take it. So
No. Last time I said MASH, and she's like, that makes you sound old. MASH.
Great choices. This is my last thing for you. I've said this a million times, and I think I said it when we did our screening, but I love IMAX. And one of the things that I loved about last year in IMAX is how many people searched out Best Picture winner Oppenheimer, Universal. I'm giving a shout out to everyone there. And how much like that got so many people to go to see it in a theater. And also what Denis Villeneuve is doing with Dune 2, seeking it out in 70mm IMAX. I love this format. So as a filmmaker, and you talk about wanting to push yourself, is there anything that you're thinking about in terms of future stuff where, that kind of presentation starts filtering into the project, like, even if it's Kung Fu or whatever it may be, but shooting for IMAX and aiming for that large screen format that can't be recreated at home, even if you have a great TV.
Well, you sort of nailed it with Kung Fu, because sort of the palette of that world, and you remember that it's sort of the epic landscapes and the things that really lend themselves to IMAX are all sort of embedded in the world of Kung Fu from the original. And so that's something that's been sort of percolating in our head. I'm not going to commit to the IMAX cameras just yet, but it would be an honor always to use them because the format is amazing, and 70mm is amazing. Yeah. Haven't had that opportunity yet.
We do have the luxury of making theatrical films, and that's where we want to stay for as much as we possibly can. And that gives you an opportunity to, the IMAX format gives you an opportunity to sort of demand the entertainment experience, collective entertainment experience that, we are absolute fans of, and is why we're in this business.
Yeah, I'm just saying too, as a fan of the format, use it, because I like seeing movies in theaters and on the big screen. Anyway, listen, I have a million other questions, but for people that have stayed till the end, just remember that at WonderCon, David will be joining me on stage for the Directors on Directors panel, and we're going to have some surprises. Trust me on that one. Thank you both so much for coming in, and I cannot wait to see the world premiere of your movie tonight. I have a funny feeling it's going to play pretty well.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you so much.